5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start. In recent years, protests across the world have become increasingly frequent and intense. Although they often appear to be grassroots movements sparked by genuine grievances, there is a growing belief among certain sections of the public and political analysts that many of these protests are not as organic as they seem. Instead, they are believed to be manipulated or even orchestrated by foreign powers that have a vested interest in destabilizing certain nations. The notion that protests are secretly controlled by other countries might seem far-fetched at first glance, but historical patterns, intelligence reports, and political outcomes suggest that there could be some truth to this unsettling idea. Foreign involvement in domestic affairs is not a new phenomenon. Throughout history, powerful nations have sought to influence the political direction of other countries to serve their own strategic interests. This influence has often been exerted through covert means, including funding opposition groups, spreading propaganda, and even training activists. In modern times, the tools and techniques used for this purpose have become more sophisticated, leveraging social media, cyber operations, and psychological warfare to manipulate public sentiment and fuel unrest. One of the key reasons why a foreign country might seek to control protests in another nation is to weaken or remove an unfriendly government. By encouraging and supporting domestic dissent, a foreign power can create an environment of chaos and instability. This weakens the ability of the current leadership to govern effectively and damages its credibility both at home and abroad. Once the government loses control or legitimacy in the eyes of its people, it becomes vulnerable to internal collapse or forced resignation, thereby opening the door for a new regime that may be more aligned with the interests of the foreign backer. The process often begins subtly. Foreign entities might first establish contact with dissatisfied citizens, activists, or opposition parties. These contacts are usually disguised through non-governmental organizations, media agencies, or online platforms that claim to support democracy, human rights, or social justice. While the causes they promote may be noble on the surface, they are frequently used as a cover for more strategic objectives. Financial support is funneled into protest movements, sometimes through cryptocurrency or international banking systems, making it difficult to trace the origin of the funds. The funding allows protest organizers to mobilize larger groups of people, create professional quality media campaigns, and sustain their movements for longer periods than would otherwise be possible. In addition to financial support, foreign-controlled protests are often bolstered by information warfare. This includes the use of fake news, doctored videos, misleading social media posts, and bot accounts to amplify grievances, incite anger, and create a sense of urgency among the population. The goal is to make the protest appear larger and more popular than it actually is, thus encouraging more people to join. In some cases, the situation is escalated deliberately through staged incidents or provocations that are designed to trigger a violent response from authorities. Such responses are then broadcast globally, further undermining the legitimacy of the government and increasing international pressure for change. Another method of foreign control involves the exploitation of internal divisions. Countries with ethnic, religious, or regional fault lines are particularly vulnerable. Foreign actors can stir up resentment among specific groups by highlighting historical injustices or current disparities. This targeted agitation leads to a fragmented society, where the unity necessary for stable governance is undermined. The result is a weakened state that is easier to influence or control. By supporting separatist sentiments or radical ideologies, the foreign power ensures that even if the current government is dethroned, the country remains divided to mount a strong resistance to external influence. Once the protests gain momentum and public sentiment turns against the ruling establishment, the final stage of the operation begins. At this point, foreign diplomats and media outlets begin to speak openly in favor of the protesters, framing the conflict as a moral struggle for freedom and justice. International organizations may impose sanctions, initiate investigations, or call for external interventions. All of these actions further isolate the existing government and make its position increasingly untenable. In some cases, military or intelligence assistance is covertly provided to opposition groups, tipping the balance of power in their favor. Eventually, the sitting government is either forced to resign, ousted through a coup, or defeated in a highly influenced election process. After the removal of the existing leadership, a new government is usually formed with significant input or backing from the foreign power that orchestrated the unrest. This new leadership may appear democratic and independent, but in reality, it often serves the interests of its foreign benefactor. Critical national resources, strategic partnerships, and policy decisions are shaped by external demands rather than domestic priorities. The country may achieve temporary peace or progress, but it comes at the cost of sovereignty and long-term stability. Over time, the population may begin to realize the hidden costs of their revolution, but by then, the foreign influence is already deeply embedded in the political and economic systems. It is important to recognize that not all protests are foreign-controlled. Many are genuine expressions of public dissatisfaction with corruption, inequality, repression, or poor governance. However, the presence of authentic grievances does not exclude the possibility of foreign exploitation. In fact, the best opportunities for external control arise when there is already a foundation of public discontent. Foreign actors simply amplify existing tensions and provide the resources and narratives needed to transform isolated frustrations into nationwide movements. To defend against this type of foreign interference, countries need to invest in strong intelligence capabilities, secure communication systems, and public awareness campaigns. Educating citizens about the tactics used in information warfare and the importance of critical thinking is essential. Transparency in governance and responsiveness to legitimate concerns can also help reduce the space for foreign actors to operate. If people believe that their voices are heard and their issues addressed, they are less likely to fall under the influence of external provocatives. Stop.